Hey kids, I got a question for you. How many of you have a pet at home? How about a dog? I do. How about a cat? How many of you have both? Whoa, that's a lot of you. Do any of you have a pet fish? How about a turtle? No turtles? When I was little, I always wanted a pet turtle. That was my secret pet. But then I realized he probably wouldn't be a whole lot of fun, so I never got one. How many of you have a bird at home? Nobody? Yeah, I know a couple people with birds at home. And let me tell you, all they say is they are loud. So I'm glad I don't have one at home. But having a pet is pretty fun at home, isn't it? You get to do a lot of stuff with them. You get to pet them, you get to take them for walks, you feed them, and sometimes you get to sleep with them, and they're always happy to see you. But let me ask you, boys and girls, do you ever talk to your pets? Yeah, I do too. I even sometimes ask my dog a question or even a conversation with him. I know, that's silly, isn't it? And let me tell you, he never responds. He just looks at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. But sometimes I talk to him to give him a command so he knows what I want from him. In fact, here's a fun little video of me and my dog Mello doing some tricks. Hey boys and girls, this is my dog Mello, and he loves doing tricks. And that's one way that I communicate to him. And he enjoys it because it's a fun game, but more importantly, he likes it because he gets food. So let me show you some of the tricks that Mello knows. All right? First one, roll over. Good boy. Play dead. Good boy. Up. Good boy. Okay, come here. Sit. Sit pretty. Good boy. And this is always a favorite. Kiss. Good boy. And then this is a little fun one that we like to do also. Okay? Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Good boy. Thanks, boys and girls. Wasn't that fun? He can do quite a bit of tricks, can't he? There's even more he can do, but I thought I would just share a little. Those are his favorite. But let me tell you, boys and girls, it didn't just happen in one day. That was a lot of practice and a lot of patience on both of our parts to get to that point. And there's other dogs that also have special training to do. In fact, there's dogs that work with the police department that sniff out bad stuff that the police have to find. And they go through a lot of training in order to be able to do that. And there's other dogs that help the seeing impaired, that they go through a lot of training so they can block them from traffic, keep them safe. But they're all helping whoever they're working for keep them away from danger because they don't want them to get hurt. And in today's story, we are going to learn about a donkey who helps his master Balaam down the road and tries to block him from danger. But Balaam gets upset at him. And in fact, he beats him. And after a little while, the donkey talks to him. Can you believe that? I know. A donkey talking? That's just crazy. But we're going to hear about it in our story today. So let's read. And our story is found from Numbers 22, verse 21 through 38. Balaam got up in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with the Moabite officials. But God was very angry when he went, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Balaam was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand, it turned off the road into a field. Balaam beat it to get it back on the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path through the vineyards, with walks on both sides. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, It pressed close to the wall, crushing Balaam's foot against it. So he beat the donkey again. Then the angel of the Lord moved ahead and stood in a narrow place where there was no room to turn either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it lay down under Balaam, and he was very angry and beat it with his staff. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and it said to Balaam, what have I done to make you beat me these 3 times? Balaam answered the donkey, you have made a fool of me. If only I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now. The donkey said to Balaam, am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden to this day? Have I been in the habit of doing this to you before? No, he said. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with his sword drawn. So he bowed low and fell face down. Then the angel of the Lord asked, why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? I have come here to oppose you because your path is reckless one before me. The donkey saw me and turned away from me these 3 times. If it had not turned away, I would have certainly have killed you by now, but I would have spared it. Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, I have sinned. I did not realize you were standing in the road to oppose me. Now if you are displeased, I will go back. The angel of the Lord said to Balaam, go with the men, but speak only what I tell you. So Balaam went with the Balak's officials. When Balak heard that Balaam was coming, he went out to meet him at the Moabite town on the Aram border and at the edge of the territory. Balak said to Balaam, did I not send you an urgent summons? Why didn't you come to me? Am I really not able to reward you? Well, I have come to you now, Balaam replied, but I can't say whatever I please. I must speak only what God puts in my mouth. So, boys and girls, Balaam was kind of getting pretty greedy, and he liked to get a lot of money. And he was on his way to curse the children of Israel. But he learned a valuable lesson on the way about obeying God. And the children of Israel were God's people, and he wasn't going to let anything happen to them. So he put an angel to appear to Balaam and the donkey on the road 3 times. And all 3 times the donkey stopped, and all 3 times Balaam beat the donkey because he was mad that he was not listening to him. And finally, as we read in the story, the donkey asked, why have you hurt me these 3 times? And Balaam said, because you weren't listening to me. You were making a fool of me. But then Balaam saw the angel and realized what the donkey was doing. And he learned that he needs to obey God and speak only what God wants him to say. And that's like us, boys and girls. There's a lot of temptation in the world that wants to try and lead us from God. But we have to remember that God loves us and he wants us to obey him all the time. It's not easy sometimes, is it? Sometimes it can be really difficult. But we know that God is always there to help us and guide us. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah. We probably aren't going to have a talkie donkey, though. I know, that's kind of sad. But it's probably not going to happen. But we know that God is always with us, and we can always pray to him, to talk to him, and read his Bible. So, before we move on, let's go over our memory verse, shall we? And do you remember where it's from? That's right. Psalm 25, verse 4. You got it. Let's say it together, shall we? Lord, show me your ways. Teach me how to follow you. Psalm 25, verse 4. That's good, boys and girls. Now, I have a little story to read to you, boys and girls. And before I do you know what this upcoming week is at church? It's kind of a tricky question, isn't it? We are actually doing a special activity at church next week, and it's called Serve the City, where we're going to help out a bunch of people around Sioux Falls and to help give food, to spread food to other neighbors, to give some, doing some flowering pots to help people that can't get out, to give them some happiness and to cheer them up and to make them smile. And we're doing a fun activity on Sunday with kickball. So if you want to, come on out and watch because it'll be a lot of fun. So because we're doing that, and just because it's always a good reminder, I want to read you boys and girls a story about getting involved and helping out other people. All right? So, brother and sister belong to the Cub Club at the chapel in the woods. Preacher Brown was their leader. They did lots of fun things together. They went on picnics, played baseball, sang in the chorus, put on plays, and painted pictures of Bible stories. But the Cub Club was about much more than just doing fun things. I'll read from this side. It's a lot easier for me. The real purpose of the Cub was to help others. There was always something that needed to be done around bear country. Sometimes it was cleaning up the Beartown playground. Sometimes it was bringing food to bears who couldn't get out and about. Sometimes it was even fixing up old houses for folks who couldn't fix themselves. And that's kind of like how we're doing. We're spreading food around to people. We're helping build homes, having lots of fun. Brother and sister like to be helpful. It made them feel good deep down inside. Preacher Brown explained that it was always a good thing to help those in need. As the Bible says, he told them, whoever is kind to the needy honors God. So the Cub Club went right on helping others all over bear country. Little did they know that very soon their help would be truly needed indeed. On the way to school one day, brother and sister noticed the sky growing very dark. By the time they reached school, it was starting to drizzle. Through the morning, it rained harder and harder. It rained so hard that recess was canceled. And they had a study period instead. Oh, that would be sad, wouldn't it? Rain, rain, go away, recited sister. Come again some other day. But the rain paid no attention. It came pouring down harder than ever. I think you made it worse, said brother. When school let out, the cubs splashed their way home through the puddles. Do you boys and girls jump in puddles? You do? It's a lot of fun, isn't it? All right. But then they heard a car coming down the road. It was Mama. She was coming to pick them up. Thanks, Mama, said the cub. We were getting soaked. At bedtime, brother and sister could hear the wind howling and the rain beating against the windows. It was a little spooky, but they snuggled down under the covers and soon drifted off to sleep. They dreamed about rushing streams and roaring waterfalls. It was still raining when they woke up the next morning. Wow, said brother. Look at it coming down. As brother and sister went downstairs, they heard Papa on the phone. Don't worry, he said. I'll be right over. Over where? Asked Mama. That was Preacher Brown, said Papa. The river is rising fast, and we'll need to get everyone out of their houses down there. We're meeting at the chapel. We'll all come with you, said Mama. There'll be plenty for everyone to do. At the chapel in the woods, bears were gathering from all over. Their cars were loaded with shovels and buckets, bundles of blankets, and boxes of food. Grizzly Gus had a load of sandbags in his truck. Preacher Brown saw brother and sister and some of the other cubs. I want all you Cub Club members to go along with your dads and help out, he told them. This is what Cub Club is all about. Yes, sir, they said. They were glad to be going, and brother and sister especially wanted to make sure Cousin Fred was all right. The cars drove through the storm down to the river. We're just in time, said Papa. The water is nearly up to all the houses. An angry river was swirling over its banks. and lapping toward the houses. "Look, there's Cousin Fred," said Sister. Cousin Fred, with Uncle Willie and Auntie Min, was leaning out of upstairs window and waving. The bears all set to work, piling up sandbags and digging ditches to keep the water away from the houses. Brother, sister, Cousin Fred, and the rest of the Cub Club joined in. They dug and dug and dug until they were cold, wet, and tired. Then everyone drove back to the chapel to warm up, dry off, and get something to eat. Preacher Brown got up in the pulpit, opened the Bible, and started to read. The floodgates of heavens were open, and rain fell on the earth. The waters flooded the earth. Sister noticed a bright light coming through the chapel windows. "Look," she said, "the rain is stopping, and the sun is coming out." "And there's a rainbow," said Brother. "I have set my rainbow in the clouds," read Preacher Brown, closing the Bible. "With God's help, we are all safe and sound," said Preacher Brown. "Thanks to everyone for pitching in and helping out." All the bears clapped. They had been there to help others when their help was truly needed. So thanks, boys and girls, for joining me this week. And remember to always obey God and help others out when you can. See you next week.